Hi, and welcome to the Simple Logistics channel. Today, I would like to talk to you about the importance of air transport. Now, with the distribution of vaccines happening around the world, we are again reminded of how important are all the transportation models, including air transport. So, air transport has been shamed in the last few years due to the environmental impact. So, and of course, there is an important environmental impact related to air transportation. But now, during COVID, we are again reminded of how important it is this type of transportation, this modal. For example, in my home country, here in Brazil, I think some of you are familiar with the news. Today is January 20th. So a few days ago, like a week ago, all hospitals in the city of Manaus, in the north of Brazil, the middle of the Amazon jungle, all the hospitals there ran out of oxygen uh, due to the COVID crisis. There was a sudden increase in the consumption of oxygen in the ICUs due to lots of COVID patients from the end of the year, people that got contaminated during the end of the year holidays, a lot of gathering during that time. So a spike of cases in the first few weeks of January, and hospitals were not prepared. They didn't have big enough reserve of oxygen. The supplier in Manaus, only one company supplies oxygen there. They were already working almost at the the limit of their capacity because this consumption has been increasing for the last 12 months, and it reached a point that hospitals were had to ration oxygen for patients, and it was terrible to see the images in the news. So what was done? The the Brazilian Air Force had to arrange emergency transportation in the aircrafts of oxygen cylinders to take it to Manaus from other larger Brazilian cities which had enough reserves, which have more suppliers of medicinal gas, because oxygen for torch welding is one kind of oxygen. Oxygen for hospitals has a higher purity, so not all suppliers can supply these hospital grade oxygen. And the transportation cannot be made in passenger aircraft. So that's why the Brazilian Air Force had to use their transportation aircraft. It's not pressurized, so it has no problem dealing with compressed gases if there is a leak or something. In a pressurized aircraft, if you have one of those cylinders start to leak, you can have a catastrophic failure with the aircraft. So, two important things to remember here. The importance of air transportation, it's very important, regardless of the emissions, but also we have to work on the emissions, reduction of emissions in the air transportation. So a lot of aircraft manufacturers are working on hydrogen and electric engines for aircraft. Some hybrid designs, at first, and then full change to electric for lighter, smaller aircraft, and hydrogen for bigger passenger cargo aircraft. This is very important. And the second thing is the transportation of dangerous goods inside aircraft is a completely different ball game. So it's important to know what the effects of the product that you are putting inside the aircraft, what it can cause, and it's important that you plan ahead how to deal with the dangerous goods, how to deal with these type of cargo, especially if you're dealing with passenger aircraft, because passenger safety, flight safety is more important than all the rest. So it's important that companies that use this kind of transport, they are responsible for explaining and for providing all the documentation for the goods that they want to transport. So good descriptions of what your product is, what it's made of, what can cause during air transport is really, really, really important to provide this information for the airline. And it's important from airlines to follow all IATA's, the International Air Transport Association regulations to guarantee flight safety. It has a lot of technical aspects. The transportation of DG, of dangerous goods, will make other dedicated videos to explaining what are those international regulations for the transport of dangerous goods. But as I mentioned here, it's very important that if your company is using air transport, that you be really responsible and accountable, and you really be thorough with the documentation, and be really transparent with the airline of about what you want to transport, so they know exactly how to deal with it. They don't put any flight at risk. Okay, so that's what I had for today. Thank you for following our channel. Thank you for your feedback, really kind feedback in the last few weeks from viewers. I really appreciate all of us here at the channel. We do appreciate your feedback. So feel free to give us feedback, comments, hit like, subscribe to our channel, and be back for other videos like this. Thank you very much. Bye.